Folks, this live stream is brought to you by my sponsor AAA FX. Now, they're a fully regulated broker in Europe and South Africa, offering Forex indices, commodities, crypto, and over 100 stocks. Now, at AAA FX, you pay no commission on any Forex pair using their ECN Plus account and low commissions on cryptos and stocks. Plus, you can deposit with cash or crypto, get a free VPS with deposits over 5K, and easily integrate the well-known copy trade service Zulu Trade. While you're waiting for the stream to start, go and check them out by clicking the link in the description, comments, or visit AAAFX.com.
Hello everyone, hope you're doing great. For those who know me, I'm Richard, also known as the Signalist on TradingView. I'm happy to be back here. For those who don't know, I go live on Trading Nut every single month, like at the beginning of the month, to give you an overview about the Forex market, the crypto market, and also the indices. So feel free to request any instrument. I'll be keeping an eye on the comments. I'll be checking it after every couple of charts. So let me share my screen real quick. I forgot how, because it's been a month. I found it. So let me share the window. Yeah, I guess now you can see my DXY chart, and you can see the watch list here. It's a big one, so I tried to make it as quick, but at the same time as educational and detailed as possible. So take a sit back, grab a coffee or tea, and enjoy it. As usual, cheers. Okay, hello, hope you're doing good. Zero. And wow, Emrich, so you share the same name from Sierra Leone, right? Hope you're doing great. And of course, we want to thank Cam for the opportunity here. Hello, Cam. Hope you're doing great, and wishing you a wonderful week ahead. As you, if you like the content, if you find it useful, make sure to like this video to help it reach as many traders as possible. So let's do it. Let me check that everything is working properly. My microphone is on, everything is on. Okay, so just let me know, for those who are here, if you can hear me well, okay? Before I could get started and talk 1 hour and we have technical issues. Let me know if everything's working properly. You can see the chart, the XY, you can see my camera, and you can hear me well. Okay, and we'll start with the Forex pairs. Of course, the XY first of all, to feel the overall market regarding currencies, and later you can see on the list that will go over US 500 to feel the indices and stocks, also the crypto market, before we dive into the indices and the crypto ones. So let's start with the XY. I'm just waiting for you to confirm that you can hear me well. I guess it's working properly. Anyway, okay, let's do it. We can see that on the XY from monthly time frame. Of course, if you can request any Forex pair now, because we are going over Forex pairs. And then for the indices, you can request any index and so on for the crypto instruments. So for the Forex pairs, let's start first. We can see that the XY has been trading bullish inside this massive long-term brown channel, and we are currently sitting around the upper band, right? So that's why it's considered an overbought zone, also a non-horizontal resistance, because price previously rejected it pretty well. And this trend line here has been drawn by connecting these two lows. We made an offset for it, which help us feel the overall market, that the XY usually tends to make a big impulse, a correction like this, and then a big impulse, which should be, or most probably will be, the same distance of previously. Of course, it's an entire zone and not a laser level, so you should consider it as an entire zone, just like this, for example, right? But we draw it as a level just to feel the market, that yeah, we are around an overbought zone. and we can see that it's also rejecting these lows and this little high. If it's broken upward, the next rejection or main high supply zone as well would be around 120. But let's take it step by step for now, around an overbought zone. So what we are expecting a correction on the XY. The next rejection would be around this support and resistance, also a demand zone, because we had an aggressive movement upward from here. In fact, that's the only bearish candle inside this big bullish movement, right? So price usually tends to go down to fill it before going up again. Of course, it's a big movement. It's from monthly, but just very good to start from monthly, especially on the XY, to know where we currently are. If you zoom into weekly time frame, we know that we are currently in a correction movement, just like previously. Here a correction, here and here as well, okay? But we are still overall bullish. You can clearly see it anyway. You don't need any indicators to tell you, like a moving average, that we are bullish, right? So here we have been bearish, price broke above the previous high, and we have been bullish since then, making higher lows and higher highs. For this trend to end, to have a shift in momentum from from bullish to bearish, and to expect this correction movement till these highs, which I showed you from monthly, we need to see a break below the previous major low, which would be currently around this area. Of course, this is also weekly time frame, right? So this is our last major low lining up with this high. Just like here, this was our major low lining up with this high. Currently, that's it. If we see a break below it, we'll be expecting a longer term bearish movement, a deep, big correction, which would be a whole trend from lower time frames, right? If you zoom into daily time frame, we can see that we are still bullish. I just showed you from weekly time frame, and we are currently going flat, trading inside this rising broadening wedge. Also, to feel the overall markets, we have been bullish, impulse, correction, impulse, and we are currently in this overextended correction. In fact, that's the only time or place or conditions that we can see an overextended correction. Previously, as you can see here, it's only a one impulse correction, and then the boost took over again. While here, instead of doing a correction like this and then trade higher, we have a lower high. That's the only time, if you zoom back inside this whole bullish trend, where we have this type of consolidation. Of course, it's still a correction, but you got the idea. Now you can feel it better that, yeah, the bulls aren't as strong enough as they were before. Thus, we might expect a bearish trend or a reversal. But for the bears to take over, of course, from a long-term perspective, we need to see a break below this low, which, as I showed you from weekly time frame, which would also be a break below this support and resistance, a minor one, and also below these trend lines, which are holding the price back or up or showing us the overall direction, right? So now as we approach this area, we'll be looking for what? For trend following bar setups, exactly. And as we approach this area here, the previous low, which we can see even better from lower time frames, a supply zone here, a previous low right here, these trend lines, intersection of this area. So this entire zone here is a resistance zone now. So that's how you zoom in from higher time frame to know where you are, and then zoom in and lower to know what you are currently looking for. So the two strongest zones that I'm personally highlighting are this one. Of course, it's an entire zone, as I showed you, this support area lining up with this green support and resistance, lower red trend line and lower brown trend line. Also in parallel, this upper area, which is this entire zone right here, lining up with this previous trend line here, now acting as a potential non-horizontal resistance, the upper trend line. That's it, right? And the 113. Also, we have been now bearish, low lows, lower highs. So this would be a trend following from a short-term perspective, while this would be a trend following from a long-term perspective. Okay, so these are the two zones that I'm looking for. I usually make this one in red, and that would be it. For now, the XY is sitting in the middle of nowhere, in my opinion. I would like to see it going a little bit upward, at least till this previous low and supply zone. We'll be looking for sell setups. Also, here we'll be looking for buy setups. For now, let's see which way it's going to go. Meanwhile, from lower time frames, we know that we have been bullish. We had our impulse, correction, impulse, and we are currently in this correction movement, expecting this impulse till this supply zone, and then around this area we'll be looking for sell setups. Okay, so that's basically, of course, you can even zoom lower and lower and lower. For example, if you zoom lower, we know that of course we are bullish from a short-term perspective, from a lower-term perspective, bearish here, bullish here, and so on, right? So bullish here as well, bearish, and so on. So now if you want, we have an impulse, a correction, an impulse, a correction for the bulls to take over to start the next impulse movement upward. That's our last minor high. So for the bulls need to break above it. Like that's it, just like what happened here. In this case, it's an entire consolidation, and we had the next impulse. Now we need to see a break above this. In this case, bullish movement expected. Meanwhile, we can still trade lower a little bit, make a new high, and then we'll be updating this box to be here, and then we'll be expecting this movement from there. Okay, so that's basically it for the XY. It's very important to know where you currently are, and now because like we know where you are in the XY, we can speculate or feel where we are for the USD pairs as well. Let me check the comments real quick before I get started. Okay, just Bonolo, hope you're doing good. Emirates, of course, GPUSD, I'll be adding it. We got multiple USD pairs, as you see here, but I don't have GPUSD. So hopefully when I go over these ones, because like, of course, like now you get an idea about GPUSD from these USD pairs, right? So after I go over these ones, if you still have time for the Forex section, I'll definitely go over GPUSD. So now, since we know where you are in the market, let's get quicker and go over the remaining ones. Chantel, hope you're doing good, and happy to see you here. So let's do it. If you go to EURUSD, it's usually the exact opposite. We are bearish here, we are bullish on the XY, right? So if you go to daily time frame, we know that we are in a bullish trend. We have been bearish for a long period of time, but it's the first time where we break a major high, right? So lower lows, lower highs. Now we broke finally above this major high, which is also the one round number, right? So it's the first time we do like this kind of act. We have our impulse now, correction, since we broke above this one. That's our next impulse movement, and we are currently in this correction, the exact opposite of the XY. We also have this channel here, which, as I showed you from the XY, I would like it to go a little bit upwards before looking for sell setups. The exact same opposite, I would like it to go a little bit downward to look for trend following buy setups. So I'm personally waiting for EURUSD to approach this area where I'll be looking for buy setups. In parallel, meanwhile, I can't really add much, except that if we trade higher till around the upper bound, this supply zone around this area, I'll be looking for buy setups. Okay, so long story short, for EURUSD, I'm waiting for this. Maybe we'll be able to draw a channel like this, and then we'll be buying on spike upward, or simply any bullish reversal setup or pattern like a double bottom and so on. If we move further to USD CHF, we have been rejecting this resistance zone, as you clearly see here and here as well. If you go to weekly time frame, you can see it even better. That's a massive resistance which has been holding for a long period of time, lining up with this upper brown trend line. So we are currently under resistance, looking for sell setups, and that's our support. So as price approaches it, we'll be looking for buy setups. Of course, if broken upward, then a movement till this resistance will be expected, where we'll be looking for sell setups. For now, we are rejecting the resistance, so we already took a sell here. We are looking for a sell, and around this area, a support zone, which we can see even better from daily time frame. You can see it clearly. We'll be looking for buy stops here, unless it's broken downward. Then this low would be broken, would have our impulse correction, impulse movement. In this case, on its retest, we'll be looking for sell setups. So for now, we have been looking for a sell right here on the retest of this trend line and this resistance zone. So I can't really add much, since we already made the movements. The bears took over by breaking below this major low. On USD CAD, from weekly time frame, we are retesting a support zone. Unless it's broken down, it would become a resistance, and we'll be expecting further bearish movement till this next support zone, which you can see very clearly around 1.33. From daily time frame, we are currently stuck inside a consolidation. So for the bears to take over, I would like to see this break below this low. In this case, further bearish move would be expected. For now, the bulls can still kick in. However, I would like to see them proving control by breaking above this last high. Meanwhile, impulse correction, we are clearly bearish. If we keep on trading lower, breaking below these lows as I showed you, then the bears would take over entirely from daily. This would become a resistance. In this case, on the retest of this previous support turned support turned resistance, I'll be looking for sell setups right here. And of course, as we approach this area here, I'll be looking for buy setups on lower time frame. So I can't really add much for now, but like since it's a USD pair, I just like have to go over it to feed the market. But you know what we are looking for: a break below this, look for buy here, look for sell here, or unless we see a break above this high, in this case the bulls would prove control, that would reclaim the support, and in this case we'll be looking for buy setups on the retest. That's for USD CAD. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Let's move forward to USD JPY. Okay, USD JPY, very similar channel to the XY, also around an overbought zone, lining up with this high right here. If broken upward, just like the XY, we'll be expecting a movement till our next resistance or previous major high, which would be around 160, 158. But for now, we're around this upper band, overbought zone. We'll be looking for sell setups and expecting a movement till the next rejection, which is a demand zone, just like the XY, exactly the same. Till this area, it's a massive zone to look for buy stop. So if we trade lower, we'll be looking for this buy. Meanwhile, we are looking for a sell. You know that we have been bullish lately, very bullish, especially on JPY pairs. We are currently in a correction, just like here and here as well. So we are in fact now trading the correction. Okay, so we are not trading an impulse. So be careful when it comes to JPY pairs. If you trade lower till this area here, previous low, previous high, lining up with this lower trend line acting as a non-horizontal support, I'll be looking for buy setups right here as a trend following buy. Okay, but for now, of course, definitely we are looking for sell setups. So that's our first supply or first rejection zone, lining up with this previous area here. That's why we're looking for setups from here. If we trade higher, we'll be facing or filling this supply zone, where we'll be also looking for sell setups. So that's pretty much it. Because like we already had this movement this morning. So like I prepared everything yesterday night, but like I can't really control the market. It already happened. So we broke below this low. We have been bullish, now rejecting this supply and this area, as I mentioned, from daily, and now trading lower. If we retest this zone like this, we'll be looking for sell setups here, and that's pretty much it. Let's go to gold. And we can see that we have been bearish for a long period of time, and I don't like how we are still sitting below the 1700. So that's our impulse correction, and so on, right? We are currently in this impulse. We are trying to make a correction, but it would be just a correction before the next impulse movement push price lower, because we are below the 1700. So as long as we are here, I'm bearish on gold from a long-term perspective, unless the bulls like reclaim the support by breaking back above it, so which is this previous high and low. Unless or until we see this, we can still trade lower from here, especially if we break below these lows. We can see them better anyway from lower time frames. From daily time frame, that's the view here. You can also draw a channel, which I personally did on H4. So that's it. So until we see this break, as I showed you from weekly, a break above the previous major high and low will be bearish. So as we trade higher here, we'll be looking, in fact, for sell setups to catch the next impulse bearish movement downward. And if you go lower from here like this, breaking below this, in this case, the bears will take full control. And on the retest of it, I'll be looking for sell setups as well. We'll be able to draw this channel because we will have low lows and lower highs, right? In this case, I'll be looking for a sell right here. For now, I'll be looking for a sell around this area. And of course, from a short-term perspective, as we trade lower here, I'll be looking for a buy until eventually it is broken downward. Okay, so that's it. Let me check the comments real quick. Hello, Paul. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so that's it for gold. If you move forward to NZD JPY, just like many JPY pairs, we're around the resistance looking for sell setups, and we can see this range like pretty much very clearly from weekly time frame. We're around the upper bound now of this range, so obviously we'll be looking for sell setups. Of course, unless it's broken upward, then our next rejection would be around this area here from monthly time frame, around the 90 supply zone and the upper brown trend line, which you can clearly see. Of course, if broken upward, we'll be expecting further bullish movement till around the 95, 96. But for now, let's take it step by step. If you zoom into weekly, we are currently around this resistance zone. So we are looking for sell setup, especially we got a supply zone right here. That's it for NZD-JPY, and we are currently, as you see from H1, trading inside this rising broadening wedge. So from a medium-term perspective, I'll be waiting for something like this, and then a break below this entire zone. From a shorter-term perspective, if you zoom into M30, we can also draw a shorter-term trend line right here. So let's do it anyway. That's it. Make it an orange. Make an offset for it. That's it. So we are currently trading inside a channel, inside a rising running wedge or a channel. So for the bears to take over here, we need to see a break below this zone. It would be from a short-term perspective to catch this movement, very similar to AUD JPY. That's it, around the resistance zone, previously multiple rejections from, and we are currently retesting the resistance again. So we'll be looking for sell setups, right? So looking for the sell, and then as we approach this support zone, we'll be looking for buy setups right here. Meanwhile, let's take it step by step, looking for sell setups. If you go to H1 time frame, that's our trend line, which, as you can see, I got my alert already here. So I'm waiting for a break below this low right here to go short. In this case, the sell would be entered after a candle close below the zone. The stop loss would be above the previous high, which for now is here, but we might have a new high before we break it downward. But anyway, let's say it's here, and we target at least 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio to have an edge over the market from a risk management perspective, which would be around this demand zone from daily and H4 daily and H4 time frames. So that's it for AUD JPY. So simple, easy to understand. I'm happy to see you here. I'm glad you like my style. Dion, hope you're doing good, mate. Good to have you back, bro. Wish we could do trading not at least 2 times a month. Okay, I'll think about it because I'm forgetting how to use like the software because like I'm going every single month only once. So hopefully, yeah, I'll think about it. Like seriously, maybe next month I'll be going here live twice. Okay, so like it would be every 2 weeks. Okay. And yeah, and like for those who already know me from TradingView, that's my profile, the signalist, and you can check my website, which is this one, richtl.com, and you can use the coupon tradingnut for $100 off on the package that you see on richtl.com, which the coupon is this one, trading nut. Okay, all caps locks and like without spaces. So trading not like this. Okay. Anyway, I'll keep it for now here. Again, this is my trading view profile, and you can also like check the Telegram channel where I forward everything from trading view there, in case like you want to get notified when I post new content. Okay. Okay. May I ask what's the reason why trend lines work in your opinion? In your own opinion, of course, sure. For those who don't already know me from my previous appearances here on Trading Nut, or you can simply search like Richard Nasr Trading Nut on YouTube, and you can find my previous videos here. I'm a big fan of trend lines. I use it to feel the market, as you saw, from weekly and daily, monthly. So everything above daily, I use it for overall direction, and it's an entire zone, right? Not a laser level like many traders use it. Like I don't enter because the trend line is broken, because the trend line can be drawn in many ways. So for example, this trend line here, I can draw it like this. I can draw it in multiple ways, right? So I don't enter immediately because like a random non-horizontal line is broken. Okay, so I basically enter when the last low or high is broken. For example, this is a perfect example. I'm not going to sell just because this trend line is broken. Okay, I'm waiting for this this major low to be broken before I enter a sell. This trend line is only to show me the strength of the bulls. Okay, like for example, if I have a wedge pattern, I already know that, for example, I have a channel, right? Which means that we are bullish. We get an impulse movement, a correction. But if I have a wedge pattern, it means that we are still bullish, but the bulls aren't able to push higher as they were able to push before, because even though we are still making higher highs and higher lows, they are going flat. The impulse movements are getting smaller in size. That's why we see a wedge pattern. Okay, it's just for me to feel like the market, and of course, like we don't draw at trend lines without connecting at least 3 swings. So like I can't really like draw like trend line here because we have two swings, right? So we only connect trend lines that connect at least 3 swings. And of course, I got like many rules. I'm not going to go over them all here, because like we have still to go over indices and crypto, but like maybe later on I'll make a separate video about how to draw it in an effective manner and how to treat it, because it's not a laser level. Don't ever trade like solely because a random non-horizontal line is broken upward or downward, and of course not even a horizontal one. Okay, so always wait for a last major low, last major high. And okay, again, of course, it also depends on where you currently are, what you are looking for. Are you trading a correction or are you trading an impulse? So for example, if you are overall bullish, right, so inside this impulse movements and corrections, we got minor impulse movements and correction, right? So if you zoom a little bit in, oops, yeah. Okay, for example, here we've got lows and highs. So when this low is broken downward of this one, when this low is broken downward, it's signaling what? The start of the correction. So you are currently trading a correction. It might last for one impulse only before trading higher. It might last for a couple of like movements before trading higher. Okay, so it's very important also to know where you currently are. Are you trading an impulse or correction? So like if you are getting started, only trade the impulse. So if you are bullish, we got major highs, major lows broken on higher time frames. Only zoom into lower time frames. For example, this is from H4. Only zoom into lower time frames here. The direction of the overall trend when we have a supply, previous high, anything that might hold it, right? And then zoom into lower time frames and look for this minor high broken upward. Don't go for the counter trend ones. Okay. Anyway, like let's focus on our analysis for now, because like I don't want to like I want to go over as many as possible. But of course, as usual, I try to make it as educational as possible while I'm going over like live practical examples, so so you can benefit both ways. Okay, let me take a sip as a break, and let's move forward to Euro AUD. Cheers. Okay, so on Euro AUD, we can go to weekly time frame, and we can see that we have been bearish. So this channel will help us what? Feel the overall market, right? That we are bearish, impulse, correction, impulse, and we are currently in this correction movement. And anyway, even if you didn't have this channel, right, we know that we are looking for a trend following sell setups because we are clearly overall bearish from weekly time frame. Of course, from daily or lower time frames, we are bullish because we broke above this high. Okay, so it is a correction bullish movement upward, while we are bearish from a long-term perspective. So it's a correction of this bearish trend. Okay, but the channel will help us feel where the price might find resistance, where we might finally reject the price, which would be around this area, which would also be lining up with this previous supply resistance. You can clearly see it, multiple rejections from here now acting as a resistance zone. So this area indeed is a massive zone because it's the intersection of a horizontal resistance and also a non-horizontal resistance. Meanwhile, because price can still go from here to here, it's a whole trend from lower time frame. This is weekly. Okay. Now we've got a support and resistance here as well. As you can see, a very clean one. Support previously broken downward, now a resistance, and now it has been broken upward. So we've got what? A high broken upward here. That's our impulse. We are currently in a correction movement, and you might have the second impulse to push price higher till this area. So just from weekly time frame, you know now what you are looking for. You are looking for a buy now and then for a sell. Okay, unless of course this zone is broken down in an aggressive manner, which you can see very clearly from daily time frame. If you break below this low right here, if you break it in an aggressive manner like this, in this case, price or the bears would reclaim this resistance, will be breaking back below it, back inside this range. This would be a fake out and overextended impulse like this before driving it back lower. In this case, if we break it downward, I'll be looking for a sell on the retest, and I'll be looking for a buy around this demand zone, previous low, high, and so on. Okay, so this is it. If you want, this is how you actually prepare yourself for the next week or for the upcoming days. For now, if you want, let me remove this one and show you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this, unless it's broken downward. In this case, I'll be updating these ones like this, and this would be it. Okay, looking for a sell here and then looking for a buy here. But for now, let's keep it as is. I'm looking for this buy, I'm looking for this sell. Now we can zoom into our time frames. This trend line is also showing us the overall direction, and this is it, pretty much it. The correction started, it lasted for one candle only before we traded higher again. We got our bullish trend from H4 time frame, also like adding more confidence or strength or making more sense that we are looking for buy setups, impulse, correction, impulse. We are currently in this correction trying to catch the next impulse movement upward, which would be till around this upper area, unless again and again we break it downward. In this case, I'll be looking for this sell. Oops. Okay. From H1 time frame, we are currently trading inside this channel. Again, a trend line from H4, a channel from weekly time frame, a channel from H1. So like, I already know that I love trend lines just to know where we currently are. So from lower time frames, for those who would like to zoom in, like to very low time frames, I personally don't zoom in below M30, but for those who like to zoom in lower and lower, this would be a good area to look for buy setups on shorter term time frames to catch this small impulse movement upward. It's the intersection of this level, the lower trend line, and the lower trend line in red as well, which is like helping us feel where you can go and where price might hold, where price might reject this level. Okay, from a medium-term perspective, from H130, I'm personally waiting for this and a break above this channel. In this case, I'll be going long. And for example, it depends on how it gets activated and so on. Let me fix it. I'll be going for a long here. The stop loss would be above the previous, below the previous low, and I target I wanted to at least, which would be around the next resistance zone. Okay, so that's basically it for Euro AUD. I guess, how many do we still got? Yeah, we still got two, NZD CAD and CAD CHF, which would be our last two Forex pairs. Yeah, CAD CHF is on the list just after NZD CAD, and then we'll be going over the indices and the crypto markets. Okay. Okay, let me take a sip as a break because I've been talking for 35 minutes straight. Cheers. Okay, so on NZD we have a channel, right? So we have channels everywhere. If you go to weekly time frame, this is basically it. So like previously, I was looking for a sell setup here, and the buy setup here, and the sell setup here, right? Why? Because first we have a supply lining up with the trend line, looking for buy stops. We have a support here, looking for buy stops, broken downward, retested it, looking for a sell, support, looking for a buy, and then support here. And now what? Now we have a resistance here, right? So and that the card weekly time frame to fill the market were around a resistance zone, which you can clearly see. While looking for the sell, it would be a trend following one, impulse correction, and we are trying to catch this next impulse movement downward, unless, of course, as usual, if it's broken upward in an aggressive manner. In this case, we'll be looking for this buy, and we'll be looking for this sell right here, which would be a massive zone, intersection of the upper trend line, resistance zone, and previous high right here. If you zoom into daily, that's our view so far. From H4, you can even see it better. Okay, but let's stick to daily for now. Also retesting this previous high. Yes, we broke above this one, but it might be signaling just a correction, just like here. Correction started before the next impulse pushed price lower. Correction started, we are trying to catch this next impulse movement lower, unless this correction movement would be overextended to become an impulse. In this case, we'll be looking for this. Okay, so from H4 time frame, for the, of course, we are bullish here. Okay, so like that's how you zoom in. We are bearish long term from weekly. We are bullish from H4, trying to catch the sell, which is a trend following from weekly, right? So we are bullish here, higher lows, higher highs, right? So I was looking for a buy here, for a buy around the support zone previously. Now looking for a sell, right? So I'm this is our last major low, of course, for now. Okay, unless we form a new major low here, then I'll be updating my analysis. For now, from H1, it was here. So I was looking for this break, didn't happen. We kept moving higher. So from lower time frames, as we approach this zone, I'll be looking for a short-term sell, okay, and then from H1 or from H1 or H4, I'll be looking for this movement, for example, and then a break below it. Okay, in this case, I'll be entering a medium-term sell right here. It depends on where the previous high is, and we'll be targeting A122, which would be around our next support. From a shorter term perspective, for example, from for example, from M30, I'll be looking for this sell. Of course, the same logic. That's it. The trend line would be, the trend line would be here. Short-term perspective, that's it. Of course, like it's from lower, but I don't personally zoom lower. M30 is the lowest one I zoom into, and yeah, that's it. Short sell, stop loss above the swing, and we target 1 to 2 risk reward. Anyway, let's remove them for now and go for CAD CHF. Okay, on CAD CHF, we know that we have been bearish, impulse correction, and so on. We are currently bearish This is simply a correction. Yes, I've been looking for a buy here because it's a massive support zone, but it is just from a short-term perspective to catch a short-term correction movement upward. For now, the correction is about to end, maybe, right? And we are retesting this previous low and high, which is also, as you can see here, lining up with multiple rejections, right? Which I personally drew from daily time frame. So that's it. You can also extend it to connect as many as possible. Anyway, it's already enough. We've got these rejections here. We've got this previous low from weekly time frame. Also a channel, as you see, impulse correction, looking for this impulse movement, unless again and again it's broken upward. I'll no longer be looking for a sell here. I'll be looking for a sell right here around the next resistance zone. Okay, but for now, let's take it step by step. We have been looking for a buy here, and now we are looking for a sell. From H4, I'll be waiting for this to happen. For example, a break below a low and the lower trend line in red. From lower time frames from H1, but for now I don't really have much to add, but I'll be waiting. For example, if this happens, then this would be a good double top, or here we go, or maybe head and shoulders. So I'm waiting for now for a new low, because we didn't really have a low, at least from M30 and H1. We didn't have a low. I was waiting for it personally. Oops, let me delete them. For something like this to happen, but didn't happen. Instead, we had an immediate movement downward. So for now, I'm still waiting. If we get a new low here, then yeah, it would be my trigger zone, and I'll be waiting for a break below it to catch this small correction movement downward. Okay. Ramij Mark, retail trading. Okay, fine. And like many of you like are typing this one. I guess like you guys are together, right? But anyway, I'll answer you in a bit. Jaya, I started with the XY at the start, so like let us save time because I still want to go over indices and crypto. So so like if you want, when the session ends, you can watch the recording. Okay, and I started with the XY. Okay, so for this group of people who are making this attack. Okay, so no matter what trading style you use, right? Smart money concepts, which is like currently the hub or the next big thing, right? So like everyone's talking about it and so on. So no matter what strategy you are using, as long as you have an edge, okay. So please don't believe these ones, retail, banks, smart money, blah blah blah. Okay, so as long as you have an edge, you are doing fine. If you use a moving average, a 10-5 cross moving average, if you've back tested it for 100 trades previously, and it's a good one, it's showing, it's proven scientifically that it's giving you results. Don't listen to anyone. Don't search for new content. Don't search for new strategies. Focus on it, and you will make money. Okay. The main aim of trading is just like a business. We want our winners to be bigger than our losses, right? Our main job as traders is to find an edge. Okay, and our edge can be obtained in two things, in two manners. First, from a technical perspective. That's why, as you see, I start from higher time frames to know where I am in the market, around the resistance or support. Most probably price would reject, of course, like we can be correct every time. The price can break the resistance upward. In this case, we don't sell, or if we have entered a sell, it will hit stop loss. It's part of the game, right? So we have a technical edge. If you are bearish, looking for a sell, blah blah blah, as I showed you, as you saw already from like my style, that's the first one. Okay, if I'm bullish like this, I don't want to look for buy setups here. I want to look for buy stops around the lower band, right? I don't want to look for a buy here. This is our edge. It would be here. If you are in a range, I'd be looking for a buy here. I'd be looking I don't buy blindly, okay, just because we have a random support. We look for bot setups, wait for extra confirmation that the buyers are taking over. That's first, our technical edge. Our second edge would be from a risk management perspective, by always targeting double or at least double like our risk. Okay, I personally risk 1% per trade. My target is 3% per trade. But let's say, like, to do the math in a very easy manner, let's target 2%. If you enter 10 trades, you win 5, you lose 5. Okay, so you've lost minus 5% here, and you've won plus 10% here, because 2% for the winners, 1% for the losses. So you are still making money even with a 50% win rate, even if you are only correct 50% of the time. So please don't focus on these. As long as your strategy is working for you, as long as you act like you've back tested it, it's proven to give results, don't listen to anyone. Okay. Okay. Tony, hope you're doing good. I'm happy to see you here. I'm happy that you are enjoying the sessions. Okay, GBP NZD daily, it's around, yeah, it's in a range, GBP NZD, but like, I didn't want to go for more for express, but let's go for it anyway, because like I just don't really have much time, and we want to go for indices and crypto, right? So let's go for GBP NZD real quick before I dive into indices and so on. So from GBP NZD, you are currently, as you see here, inside a range around the support zone. And here we go. Okay, I've been looking for a sell around this area previously. Okay, that's it. Anyway, let's delete it for now. We are currently around the lower band of this range, which we saw from daily time frame. So as long as we are here, we'll be looking for a short-term buy, unless, and as you mentioned, unless the support is broken downward, which is lining up with these lows and highs. It's broken downward. In this case, I'll be looking for a sell. It would be what? It would be an impulse correction, an impulse, right? If it's broken downward, I'll be looking for a buy here, and then I'll be looking for a sell here. It would be this channel right there. Okay, again and again, it would be an impulse correction, impulse. For it to call this impulse, we need to see a low like this. Okay, then I'll be looking for a sell. Okay, so that's it for the Forex pairs. Let's click on X for this one and go for the and go for the indices first, and then the crypto market. I'll go over these ones quickly because like all of them are very similar to US 500. So I'll spend my time on US 500 and then go over these ones quickly, and then spend my time on USDT dominance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then I'll try my best to go over as many as possible. As you can see, the first three here are CSZ, Crow, and Algo. Okay, so but if you want, let's skip them because you can watch it here. You can go to Trading View, the signal list, and you can see that Trading View featured this one as editor's picks. So if you go Trading View now and click on Trade Ideas, the first post is mine, right? So which is this one. And you can see tokens related to FIFA World Cup 2022. If you click on it, you can see the ones that I'm looking for: CSZ, Algo, and Crypto.com. Okay, and you can see why, right? And the source of it, and so on. So we'll skip these three to save time. You can, like for now, if you want, you can simply go Trading View. Just open the app. You will see the post. The first one. Okay, and this is it. Okay, this is my profile. Okay, and yeah, and then this is the website, as mentioned, htl.com. This is the Telegram channel, and for the website, use Trading Nut coupon for $100 off. Trading Nut, like this, no spaces, all caps lock. Okay, anyway, let's move forward. We've got US 500 to feel the stock market, to feel the crypto market, and like in general, to feel all the markets. Okay, let's take a sip before we get started. Okay, Obed, you're more than welcome. Happy to see you here. Don't forget to like this video, to help it reach as many traders as possible, and also thank Cam for the trust and opportunity. So on US 500, we are currently in a correction movement. We have been bearish for a while, making big impulse movements, small correction, and it's the nature of a falling broadening wedge or rising broadening wedge. The bigger the impulse, the bigger the correction, right? So this impulse was small, the correction was like if you want more yeah, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, impulse was small, the correction was also small. Okay, impulse was big, the correction is also bigger. Okay, so this correction is smaller than this one, and this impulse is smaller than this one. Okay, so we are currently in this correction movement. I would like to see S500 reaching this low before reversing. I don't like how it's reversing from here, which means that this correction might not last long, just like these ones. Okay, because like it's usually trading inside this movement, and now it's no longer respecting this movement. For now, we are bullish from a short-term perspective. We broke above this previous high. We are currently testing a massive support and resistance zone, which you can clearly see. So for the bull to remain in control and push higher, we need to see a break above the 39.50. If we see this break, we'll be expecting a further bullish movement upward till this supply zone, lining up with these previous lows and highs, and also lining up with this trend line right here. Okay, it would be a massive zone right here on horizontal resistance, supply zone, and so on. For now, we are currently around this area. If you zoom into H4 time frame, we can see that we have been trading inside this channel. And if you break it upward like this, as I showed you from daily, in this case, I'll be looking for buy setups here on the retest to catch this movement till this supply. Here we'll be looking for sell setups and so on. Okay, so this zone is very, very important now. Or this is our last major high for a low for now. If we break it downward, we'll be expecting further bearish movement. Okay, if we form a new swing low here, for example, and then break it downward, also the bears would take over. But for now, that's our last major low, lining up with this major high. On lower time frames, can't really say much. I already covered pretty much everything from higher time frames, but for now, that's a minor low. But again, if you break it lower, it would just start a correction, just like here, a small correction before the bulls might trade higher and push back and break this one higher. That's it for US 500. Very similar scenario for US 100. We are currently here stuck inside this range in the shape of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. All right, if you go to weekly time frame, you can see it even better. That's our next support in case we trade lower from here. It's the 10k round number. From the daily time frame, we are currently inside this channel. If we trade higher from here, this would be a massive resistance zone. For us to be able to trade higher, we need to see a break above this. As mentioned, it's like an inverse head and shoulders pattern, head, left, and right? Again, just like US 500, we need a break above the 39.50. On US 100, we need a break above this neckline. Once we have the break, we'll be expecting further bullish movement, and this would be it. Impulse correction, and then impulse movement higher till this resistance zone. Okay, I can't really add much from lower time frames. Again, just like US 500, if you break the lows, okay, the correction movement lower would start. So we are basically trading inside a range, as you can see right here. On US 30, a very similar movement as well. However, on US 30, it has been stronger than US 100, US 500. We already made this big impulse movement upward. We are currently around the upper bound of this falling broadening wedge and also this supply zone right here. So we're expecting a rejection. If the bears take over, we'll be looking for sell setups on lower time frames, unless this zone is broken upward. In this case, further bullish movement would be expected. But for now, we are around a very strong zone. We broke above the previous major high, we traded higher, and so on. So as you can see, very similar to US 500. For the bears to take over from a medium-term perspective, we need to see this, and then this, a break below this entire zone, like a major low and the lower trend line. That's it for now. From a shorter term perspective, for the correction to start, this is for now our last low. Okay, this is basically it. If we break it lower, we'll be expecting a short-term bearish movement, the correction to start, and then if this happens and then a break below it, below this area, then the bears will take over from a medium-term perspective, because we are around, as I mentioned, around the supply zone, the upper trend line in blue in this case, and so on. On DE40, very similar to US 30, approaching a resistance zone. You can see multiple rejections from this area. Unless it's broken upward, we'll be expecting this movement. It would be an impulse breaking above the high, correction, and so on. In this case, we'll have a full reversal. If you go to daily, can't really say much. From H4, we broke above this high, classic retest to it, so we can look for a buy here, maybe withdraw a channel, and so on. And now approaching a resistance, so we'll be basically looking for a sell. Meanwhile, until the sell is activated, we would be bullish and we can still trade higher and higher. But for now, if a new low is formed right here, because for now that's our last major low. Okay, so if we break it downward, we'll be expecting a bearish movement. Or if a new low is formed, for example like this, in this case we'll be updating our last low, and if it's broken downward, the bears would take over. For now, we are clearly bullish from a medium term perspective, but remember, we are still bearish from a long term perspective. On US oil, we rejected the support resistance, a minor one, also a demand zone. If it's broken down, we'll be expecting further bearish movements. On weekly time frame, this is basically it. And yeah, that's it. So we have been bearish here. That's our last major high, also formed like inside this big falling broadening wedge. This is our last major high, which we saw from daily time frame. If it's broken upward, we'll be expecting further bullish movement. For now, if we trade lower here, I'll be looking for buy setups from a short-term perspective. Okay, I guess that's it. Let's get into crypto. Okay. Nat, hope you're doing good. I already went over gold at the start, so now when the session ends, you can watch the recording. Okay. Okay, so like someone is posting ads here about girls. So let me block the user. I don't know how to do it. Okay, I guess I blocked him. Okay, let's take a sip as a break and dive into crypto, right? So on USDT dominance, so usually we want USDT dominance to go down, right, for the entire market to go up, which would mean that traders are using their USDT to purchase like crypto, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on. Okay, so if USD dominance go higher, it means that people are like shifting their crypto to a stable coin. And you can also check USDC dominance, but since USDT has a bigger market cap, I always keep an eye on USDT first. Okay, we have been trading inside these support and resistance, which you can see now we are around the support zone, multiple rejections from this area, and we are currently here around the support. Yes, the bears are taking over, breaking below this low and so on, but for the bears to take full control, I would like to see a break below this support right here. We can see it better from from H4 time frame. That's it. We broke below this low, these lows here, short-term bears took over, and so on. And for those who have been following me previously on TradingView and on and also on KuCoin. For now, we are currently here. For the bulls to take over from a short-term perspective, we need to see a break above this one. In this case, we'll be rejecting the support zone. For the bears to take full control, just like previously, breaking below the lows, I would like to see it breaking below this low and a daily candle close below this area. In this case, if this happens, if we have a full daily candle close below this zone, we'll be expecting further bearish movement, thus further bullish movement in the crypto market. For example, on Bitcoin, we rejected the 18K zone, we traded higher, we even broke above this high. Okay, but this is just a short-term bullish movement. Okay, from a long-term perspective, for the bears to take over again and to continue the long-term bearish movement, we need to see a break below the 18K, which is this range right here. If you break below the 18K, we'll be expecting further bearish movement. From H4 time frame, we have been trading inside this range for a long period of time. Finally, we had the break, and like previously, we have been trading the range upward and downward until eventually it's broken upward. For those who would like to keep an eye on Bitcoin, I'm posting daily updates. I'm calling it Bitcoin in a minute on my trading view profile, so you can see here like day 93, you can watch it. Okay, for example, day 92 is here. Okay, so I posted the update here. For example, on where we were here, that we were looking for bust. That's it. On 89, that's it. So the bulls took over short term. For the bulls to take over medium term, we need to see a break above this. Then the price traded higher from here, and then want a break above this. Then price broke it upward. And of course, like this is a video. You can click on it and you can watch what I said. Okay. Anyway, for those who like, this is also on my trading view profile. I'm posting daily updates for Bitcoin, because once you know what Bitcoin is doing, you can take an idea about what every other token or coin is doing, right? So we broke above this 20K 500, and we are currently here inside the zone. For the bulls to take over or to remain in control, because they are already over from medium term perspective, for them to remain in control, we need to see a break above this high right here. In this case, a movement to the 22,500, 22,800. This supply zone would be expected, which is also lining up with the support and these previous lows and highs. Also, as you can see, a massive supply zone. If you break it upward, then the bulls will take over from a medium-term perspective and so on. Okay, but anyway, for now, let's take it step by step. We are currently trading below this trend line, forming like a falling broadening wedge. Let me make this one a little bit higher. That's it. Okay, let's throw it in blue, just like this one. Okay, so like forming like a falling broadening wedge, just like this, and we're expecting now price to trade inside this falling broadening wedge, and or if you break below the zone, that's why you see my alerts here around this area. I'll be looking for bust stops. If we break this one, alert here, I already bought Bitcoin, so I'll be adding more longs. Okay, unless we see a break below this entire zone, below the 20K again, it would mean that the bears are taking over and claiming this support zone back. If we break below the 20K again, okay, we'll be back inside this range. For now, we are bullish, looking for a short-term buy, looking for a medium-term buy. The next resistance is 22K 500. The same goes for Ethereum. We are bullish. Lately or previously, we broke above everything that might hold it back, the 100, the 1500, this trend line, and so on. So this one is no longer helpful. We also broke above this range. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We are currently bullish, trading inside the zone. If we break the zone downward, we'll be expecting a correction to the 100. I say 100, 1500, which I have my alert right here. I'll be looking for bust stops right there. From lower time frames, just like Bitcoin, we are currently trading inside, if you want, this channel like this. Okay, so that's why if we trade lower here, I'll be looking for this buy. Meanwhile, we want to break above this entire zone for the bulls to be able to push further higher. Okay, on CSZ, I already let's skip it for us to go over a couple more ones. You can check these ones here, the last post on my profile, or the first post on TradingView. You can check CHZ, crypto.com, and on and also Algo. Okay, that's pretty much it. On link, okay, let's cover new ones. Let me check the comments if you guys want me to go over a specific one. Hello Moses, US 30, I just went over it like 5-10 minutes ago when I was going over the indices. So if you want, when the session ends, you can watch the recording. Okay. Okay, on link, we are currently around the support zone. Of course, for the bulls to take over from a long-term perspective, I would like to see a break above the 10, which is a strong round number, also lining up with this previous high that you can see here. That's why you see my alert here. Okay. The bulls are already in control from a short-term perspective. For now, I'm expecting a bullish movement. On link, previously bearish, now bullish, and now bullish again. We've got this high here that the bulls need to break for them to remain in control. So I would like to see this break. So short term, bulls took over. Medium term, I'm still waiting for it, and then long term, this would be it. Okay, so like this is how I divide like my I divide my portfolio into 3 entries. Okay, so for example, I want to buy $150 worth of link. Okay, so like this is how I do it. I don't personally enter it all in one chunk. I divide it into 3 phases. The first one is short term. So I entered the first 50 here. I'll give you an example. I'm entering the second one here. And the third one would be after a break above the major high from a long-term perspective. On XLM, a very similar scenario, just like Link. I'll go over like one more after XLM. So if you want me to go over a specific crypto instrument, please let me know in the comment section, and I would be happy to do it. Okay, on XLM, approaching the 0.1, which is a massive round number, as you clearly see. And we have a double bottom formed, waiting for the boost to break above the neckline, which is here around 0.14. If you break it higher, the boost will take over from a long-term perspective and we'll be expecting a bullish movement. From a shorter-term perspective, we've got this high right here. Let's make it in orange. That's it. For the bullish takeover, that's why you see my alert here. Okay, I'll be buying some here, and then I'll be adding more when this one is broken upward. Meanwhile, if we trade lower, this would be an attractive price. That's why you see my alert here. I'll be looking for buy stops, the exact same thing as I did previously on XLM multiple times. So I want to be going to go long around this lower bound, but price can still trade higher from here and break this one upward. In this case, I'll be getting into it in this area. Okay, Black, hope you're doing good. Okay, what do you mean? What do you mean about the spring effect? Okay, like just let me know if it's the spring that comes after the accumulation or the distribution phase. This is the spring that you mean, or it's something different. Okay, I'll go over sand, which is our last one for today. Of course, if you want to go over a specific crypto instrument, let me know in the comment section. So on sand, as you see here, from weekly time frame, we are around the demand zone and also between round numbers 0.5 and 1. So that's why we are looking for buy setups. Let me make this one disappear from daily. Okay, I guess these ones as well. I don't want to see them on lower time frames. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so from a long-term perspective, we've got our double bottom pattern forming here. For the bullish takeover, we need to see a break above this neckline, just like DOT, just like XLM, Link, and so on. waiting for a break above the 1.55 for the bullish to take over from a long-term perspective. From a shorter-term perspective, the bulls already took over here, but I personally waited for this zone, and then I'll be adding more if we break above the 1, which is a round number, also lining up with these highs. And then later on, I'll be adding some right there. So the bears took over, now the bulls took over, the bears took over previously, the bulls took over, and so on, okay? Okay, so that's basically it for today. We went over multiple ones, forex pairs, indices, crypto markets. So this is why I always do it at the beginning of each month, for you to get a feeling or to prepare yourself for the upcoming months. Usually November is a bullish one for the stock market and for the crypto market. So let's see if this November is going to be different, or it will also be bullish. Anyway, no matter what you hear, always follow your rules, always wait for the bulls to take over first before jumping in. Okay, again and again, don't forget to like this video to help it teach as many traders as possible if you believe the content is worth sharing. Thank you so much everyone for your time, and thank you Cam for this opportunity, and I'll see you hopefully next month. I'll try to go twice per month as per some of you requested, starting next month. So that's it. Best of luck, and I'll see you hopefully next time.